Hi there, welcome back to Traveling Cat Photos. I'm Kat. Today we are exploring Yellowstone National Park and Grand Teton National Park. Now we've been trying to shoot this intro all day, but it has been pelting snow and horrible wind, and this is the first chance we've had. And right now we are in Grand Teton. Let us show you the view. Our morning began with snow. We had to do a bit of scraping, but we did let Windy play in the drift a bit before driving the short mile to the western gate. Our hope was to be able to do a loop that included the southern portion of Yellowstone below Old Faithful and down to Jackson before heading back over the pass to Yellowstone. That route had been closed the day before, and with the new snowfall, we didn't know if they were going to open it or if our hopes of seeing Grand Teton would be over. We waited in line, paid with our America the Beautiful pass, and found out that yes, the way was open and we could go look for bison and see the Tetons. It wasn't long before we found bison, but it took me a minute to realize that the perfectly still huddle of brown across the river from us were animals. They didn't move. Seriously, not a wiggle. We soon found a moving bison. Isn't he simply amazing? On March 1st, 1872, Yellowstone became our nation's first national park. This year, we celebrate its 150th birthday and the wonders of this and all of our national parks in America. Yellowstone has 2.2 million acres of geothermal areas, waterfalls, and wildlife to enjoy. You could spend months here and still not see everything. So we had to pick and choose what we had time to do now that we were attempting the loop. But as we were going to find out the entire day, we couldn't resist the views, especially when they had bison and were so beautiful. Even on a cloudy, snowy day, the views just left us breathless. That is Mount Haynes peeking through. Mount Haynes was such a beautiful surprise to find along our way. A wonderful spot to get out and take a short walk and just enjoy the beautiful view and the river. You can purchase a Yellowstone fishing license too. In fact, you can get it online before you arrive. Harry has definite plans for that when we come back and are able to stay for a couple of weeks in this area. I was so happy to see so many bison after only seeing 2 my last visit. Happy enough to stand out in the snow and photograph them. There are plenty of geothermal areas to explore in Yellowstone, and we chose the Fountain Paint Pot Trail. I was fascinated with some of the odd formations we found, like the hair-like structures on this log, and the miniature mineral terraces from the SILEX spring. Well over 10,000 different hydrothermal features have been estimated to be active within the park, and over half of the world's active geysers are found here. Celestine Pool is the first pool you see from the boardwalk on the trail. With the steam wafting over the area, it's quite dramatic. But the SILEX spring, with its never-ending blue depths, will catch your eye as you make your way to the paint pots. Silica is what gives the springs their structure, but it's the thermophiles that live in these hot waters that give the channels such a variety of textures and colors. SILEX Springs has an average temperature of 174 degrees. We then turned around to head up the boardwalk past the paint pots with its bubbling pools. It is so much fun to watch it bubble and pop. And speaking of bubbling and popping, we took the right turn to see the fumaroles, including the red spouter. And before heading up to the geysers level, we found the leather pool, called that because it's home to a leather brown type of bacteria.
Oh, you see the bubbles under there?
Finally, we got to the twig geyser and the very impressive morning geyser before the snow really started pelting us. We decided to get on the road to Old Faithful quickly before it got too heavy. In national parks, you can often run into animal traffic jams. Please give them their space. Drive slowly and carefully past them for their safety and your own. We heard a ranger have to tell someone over the loudspeaker to get back into their car at this bison jam. They are such magnificent animals to see up close. Built in 1903 to 1904 with local logs and stone, the inn is considered the largest log structure in the world. The towering lobby features a massive stone fireplace and a handcrafted clock made of copper, wood, and wrought iron. We had hoped to have lunch here, but sadly, they were closed. But it would have been lovely to stay here and enjoy the views from the lobby. Hoping the snow would pass, we went to the visitor center to get our stamp and over to the Snow Lodge and the Geyser Grill, which has a wonderfully diverse menu, to get lunch. Sadly, the break in the snow didn't last, so it was off to Grand Teton. The snowy views were beautiful on our way across the Continental Divide towards the south entrance. But the snow disappeared by the time we reached the Yellowstone sign, where we took our selfie and enjoyed the beautiful views. I hope this tip-over tree is still there after the floods. The John D. Rockefeller Jr. Highway connects Yellowstone to Grand Teton. It was dedicated to him because in the 1920s, he agreed to secretly acquire thousands of acres of this breathtaking scenery around Jackson Hole, Wyoming, and donate them to the federal government for the formation of Grand Teton National Park. We took our selfie at the sign, but had one of the greatest moments of our trip. The red fox is the largest of the true foxes and weighs up to 31 pounds. They are omnivores, eating both plants and animals. We were so blessed to see one so close to our car. With one last look at us, he moved on, and so did we. It was amazing to see Jackson Lake still so frozen over, as it was to see the Uinta squirrels playing there, just like the ones we'd seen at the Discovery Center in our last video. We stopped off at the Coulter Bay Visitor Center, enjoyed their displays and learned more about the various ecosystems, bought souvenirs, got stamps and the book, and continued our southern journey and got our first breathtaking view of the Tetons. First of all, let me tell you that no video or photograph can ever capture just how beautiful this place is. It is stunning. Grand Teton National Park was established in 1929, but land was added to it over 20 years before it finally became the entire park we see today. The colors of the Snake River at Oxbow Bend just dazzled us. Even with the sun behind the snow clouds, it was this unreal color of green. We did get a bit confused going through the Moran Gate, thinking we couldn't be leaving the park so soon, but found out, nope, this is just one of the many entrances. We were still inside the park. Even though the roads close to the Tetons were closed due to snow, these views were still amazing. At Elk Branch Flats, we ran into another bison jam, where we got an up-close view of these amazing animals right in front of our car. The view of them in front of the Tetons literally took my breath away. and led to my favorite photo of the day. There are numerous areas along the stretch to explore, including the famous Mormon Row. We kept getting sucked into stopping and just staring at the Teton Range along our way. Each angle seemed more beautiful than the last, and those sharp, jagged peaks were just amazing. But it was getting late in the day, and we needed to get to Jackson and then over the pass and back into Idaho before dark, no matter how tempted we were to follow every road that we came across. Next time, we'll plan to stay for a few weeks and really explore, after all the roads are open. On our way, we found public art that turned out to be the National Museum of Wildlife Art. Another reason to return. Is it Jackson or Jackson Hole? Well, it's both. Jackson Hole is a valley about 80 miles long and 15 miles wide. Jackson is the major town within the valley. The hole begins 6 miles south of Yellowstone Park and tapers down to the width of the Snake River at Munger Mountain, south of Jackson. The town has everything you'd want, including some really great restaurants and shops. We kept seeing moose art, but sadly, no moose. We did make time to visit the main square with its antler arches at each corner on our way to stop at the bank. And found this amazing art at the Mountain Trails Galleries. It's just a fun town to walk around. Then it was time to hang a right onto Highway 22, which is the Teton Pass Highway. Then say, "Hello, Idaho," and wave a sad goodbye to the Grand Tetons as we entered potato country. Miles and miles of potato fields in Idaho. Well, of course. We made it back into West Yellowstone and ended our day with a late dinner at Gusher's Pizza. So today was an amazing day. All of those views, the bison, it was just incredible. Despite the fact of the pelting snowstorms.
Okay, driving snowstorm is more like it. But I want to let you know, I made the call. Instead of sticking around and trying to see the geyser in the, hanging out in the snowstorm, we decided to go to Grand Teton instead. And I think it was a good call.
Yeah, so we traded waiting for that geyser for an hour and 15 minutes for the views of Grand Teton. And that fox, that was our reward. Such an amazing day. Next up is North Yellowstone, including the area between Mammoth and Gardner that was so badly damaged by the massive floods about a month after we were there. So take a moment to hit that subscribe button and follow along with us as we make our way north. Take care, safe travels, and we'll see you next time.